How can we get the performance numbers that we do with the fewer number of cores compared to our competitors? And the reason for that is quite simple, is that most modern workloads are memory bound, not compute bound. So we've offset the core count with adding more cache per core, and we found that that ratio actually makes a way bigger difference when it comes to optimizing for performance than just throwing a bunch of cores that are underutilized.
Our GPU has a lot less vector cores or our competitor's equivalent SIMD cores. And that's just because we profiled a bunch of workloads, and the majority of GPU workloads are memory bound, meaning you're not maximizing the compute throughput of the chip. You're just sitting there spending most time waiting for memory to get onto the chip. And because you're doing that, you don't need to have those extra cores. Like, it doesn't matter. There are some like synthetic benchmarks where you do care about the maximum number of cores, but in real world scenarios, I can't use them, so it doesn't matter. But why put them in the chip in the first place? So when you decrease the amount of bandwidth, memory bandwidth that a chip has, the easiest thing to do is typically to increase the amount of cache on chip, the amount of SRAMs, L0, L1, L2, whatever you want to call it, but essentially SRAMs on the chip as much as possible because of two reasons. One is moving data on and off the chip is orders of magnitude more power consumption per bit versus keeping data on chip. And the second thing is, if you don't have the bandwidth, you're almost always going to be memory bandwidth limited, and most workloads are going to slow down because you can't get memory onto the chip as much as you want. So it's really important for us to be able to kind of tune those parameters as much as possible. Legacy GPUs are kind of stuck in the space of just assuming, essentially by design, by iterative design more importantly, that the GPU has massive bandwidth to memory, but also a very small amount of on-chip cache. You can play with, again, like I said, you can play with those knobs as much as you want. And in the end, what we ended up doing is increasing the amount of on-chip cache by 9 times over our competitors and decreasing bandwidth versus our competitors by around 2x. And so it's still like a net win, essentially, because of those characteristics of the way data moves around on and off the chip.